A timeline for when CM Punk could return to AEW in-ring action has been confirmed, suggesting that Punk returning to All Elite Wrestling is not currently off the table. We've got all the very latest details on that. Eddie Kingston has been a hot topic on social media recently, launching tirades against AEW World Champion MJF and others, but now he's taking a shot at the entire AEW roster. We've got the latest update on that. The AEW World Championship will be on the line at AEW Revolution, and the stipulation has finally now been confirmed. Speaking of Revolution, who are the Elite going to defend their Trios World Championships against on the show? We've got details on that. The Bunny, there was concern on her possibly sustaining an injury on Dynamite last night. Got the latest details about her possible injury sustained on the show. Paul White, what's the latest on his AEW in-ring status? He's been speaking on his recovery from injury. EJ Nduka has been offered an AEW contract, but will he accept? Got details on him possibly signing with the company. AEW's also been filming Double or Nothing promotional material. Got details on when that could be possibly airing. Thunder Rosa was reportedly backstage at Dynamite last night, and an update on Hikuleo teasing that his Loser Leave Japan match won't be the end for his run in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling, and a double header of AEW news today because there is quite a lot to get into as the fallout from Dynamite last night continues, as the build to Revolution continues, as, maybe most importantly, the build to CM Punk, the former two-time AEW World Champion's return to All Elite Wrestling television, draws nearer and closer, especially considering the controversial circumstances of the last time he was seen associated with AEW. Many said, and had been reported extensively, that he would never return, and there was a buyout being negotiated and a non-compete clause, and people described him as a cancer. They would refuse to work with him. Well, it's certainly possible that he could return to the company. An update has emerged as to when CM Punk would be, quote, available for a return to AEW, having been absent since September 2022. Following comments made by CM Punk at the post-show media scrum for All Out on September 2022. The backstage fight that then followed between himself, the Elite, involving Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Ace Steel was also involved in there as well. Since then, the former AEW World Champion hasn't been seen on AEW television. He was suspended. In addition to being injured, of course, he had torn his tricep in the main event of All Out against Jon Moxley, where he became a two-time AEW World Champion. Many people speculating that even if all of the drama that hadn't happened at All Out, even if that didn't happen, Punk wouldn't have been available to be on television anyway, because he would have been out for 9 months. He underwent surgery on his torn triceps. He's on the road to recovery from that. In recent months, he's been posting pictures of himself on the road to recovery, training in the gym, as well as posting cryptic comments on his Instagram stories about AEW ratings and Dax Harwood, and pictures with Brody King as well. Certainly, he's keeping people talking, because still, people don't really know the true situation about his status with AEW. Well, Dave Meltzer, who has covered this extensively, maybe a bit lopsidedly in favor of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, was speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, giving his insight into the current CM Punk situation, saying, quote, "They are lacking in that babyface position something fierce. They had a shot with MJF. Obviously, they did the double cross on that, and MJF was great as a heel tonight, that being last night on Dynamite. But they don't have the guy. Punk's not going to be the guy either. I know some people might say, well, Punk's coming back. Punk may come back. He will be available to come back if they want to use him in a couple of months. It's not like it's so far in the future. And of course, if they were to bring Punk back, that opens up a lot of other issues that we can talk about another day." Now, CM Punk, of course, was recently described as a cancer and a jerk by WWE's Seth freaking Rollins, which got a positive reaction from AEW's Matt Hardy. This isn't the first time that CM Punk has been described as a cancer, with Chris Jericho also reportedly using the term to the man's face after the brawl-out situation last September. This, to me, feels like, and I don't try to give my opinion too much nowadays, I just try to move from one story to the other, because that's what you come from. You come for the news. But just to give a bit of analysis on it, it does seem like a situation where Dave Meltzer is backtracking slightly, because we haven't really heard anything about CM Punk and his status, concrete confirmation on his status, in a while. The last update was there really wasn't any noise or any news coming out about a potential buyout of his contract, and everything had been kind of quiet. And lots of people are thinking, well, with FTR set to make their decision on what they want to do with AEW in the future, with Dax Howard saying that he thinks Punk and the Elite should put their issues aside and make money, given that the Elite are back on television right now. They're the AEW World Trios champions, given CM Punk's response to Dax Howard's comments. People are saying, well, maybe, and this was something that I predicted when it happened, is that time does heal all wounds. And given that time can heal all wounds, there might just be a situation where Punk can come back, egos can be put to one side, and AEW can make money, especially during a time, this is important too, during a time in which AEW needs to make the product hot. Now, the product, from a ratings point of view, is not as hot as it was a year ago. I know people are saying, well, the recent episodes of Dynamite have been very good, and they have, minus a few booking decisions like we saw last night, but still, year upon year, the ratings are down. The viewership is down and the key demographic is down for Dynamite, for Rampage considerably, but certainly for Dynamite. And this is during a year where AEW is negotiating their media rights fees with Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, most likely they're going to be picked up again for an increased term and an increased amount of money, so they don't have an issue. But if they have a CM Punk on television and the ratings are even stronger than they are now, they have a very strong hand. They can get even more money and they can increase the scope of what the company is going to do on television. And CM Punk might be important with that. Warner Bros. Discovery might want CM Punk involved. And if they want CM Punk involved, they'll get CM Punk involved. So the idea that CM Punk was definitely done with AEW, he's never coming back because certain talent say we're not going to work with him. Frankly, it doesn't matter. They're not the ones that call the shots. The person that calls the shots is Tony Khan. It's his company. And if he wants CM Punk to be back on television and CM Punk is open to being back on television, then he could come back. As of right now, we don't have any more confirmation than that. But certainly it is interesting that Meltzer would say, I suppose he could come back, when a couple of months ago he was saying there's absolutely no way that he'll come back. Now, one of the rivalries that CM Punk had in AEW, of course, was with Eddie Kingston. Fantastic match at Full Gear in 2021. And it's no secret that Eddie Kingston is a rather outspoken man. Kingston has recently been involved in a rivalry with the House of Black on AEW Rampage, which led to the breakup of his tag team with Ortiz. Now Kingston has taken to Twitter to tell us how he really feels, and he did so in the most Eddie Kingston way possible, so naturally, there's a language warning here. He said, quote, "Please understand, if anyone like someone I don't like, that is fine. I have my reasons, and there is a lot of backstage stuff on why I don't like certain people. Again, I'm not judging them, I just don't want to be around them. But also, I like to talk shit, so maybe I can fight them in or out of the ring. Yes, I am emotional king, mad, so I am still learning how to deal with shit. But again, when Tony is done protecting certain pillars, let's see if they are as great as he thinks. Again, folks, there is a lot of inside baseball you don't need to know, so just watch the shows and understand I truly and honestly will do whatever the F I want and force certain cowards into wrestling to make a move or get the F out the way. Again, when they are done being protected, I stretch one pillar. Granted, I lost. Surprising, I know. But at this point in my career, I just want to fight. F a bout, F a win. I just want to see fear in the eyes of the boss's favourites and then smile back at the hotel room knowingly, win or lose in the ring, I mentally win." In a follow-up tweet earlier today, he added, quote, "Side note, since we need to see his world champ 3 times within an hour and a half when it's a 2-hour show, F Ortiz, F the House of Black, F the roster. Born alive, die alone, I tried. I don't need anyone, including Mox and Penta. F everyone, especially the pillars." Now, whether or not this is legitimate, whether or not this is a shoot, whether it's a weaving into storyline, I would suspect, as with everything with pro wrestling, it's a bit of both. It's legitimate frustration, certainly, but also it's a situation whereby he might be planting the seeds for the future. Eddie Kingston, as I mentioned, hasn't been doing all of too much on television recently. He's been largely relegated to that Rampage storyline with Ortiz, and maybe he's continuing that. Maybe he's weaving in storyline to make sure that his shoot doesn't go too far. Whether or not he's going to be facing MJF in the future, I doubt that. They might do something on television, on pay-per-view, maybe unlikely. Nevertheless, though, it's getting a lot of people talking, and that's what Eddie Kingston does better than most people. That's talk. Speaking of MJF, of course, he is set to be defending his AEW World Championship at Revolution, with Bryan Danielson winning every AEW Dynamite match set between January 4th and February 8th. The match is now set for Revolution. Danielson's victory over Rush was a bloody and intense affair, but it was enough to secure an AEW World title shot for the American Dragon. The stipulation in play means that Bryan will meet AEW World Champion MJF in a 60-minute Iron Man match in the main event of the upcoming AEW Revolution pay-per-view. Of course, Revolution is set to take place on March 5th, 2023 at the Chase Center in San Francisco, California. It was also revealed previously that now this is it's actually official, even though it was. This is such a weird story when it comes to this, because everyone knew this match was going to happen at Revolution, but now it's storyline official. But it's happening. Essentially, we're getting a 60-minute Iron Man match at Revolution. It's going to be a classic, no doubt about that. What about the Elite, though? What are they going to be doing at Revolution? Well, most would think would be defending their AEW World Trios Championships. But who's it going to be against? Well, at the February 8 AEW Rampage taping, the team of Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta faced off against Kip Sabian, The Butcher, and The Blade in trios action. It has been speculated that with this match, the Blackpool Combat Club will be in line to challenge for the Elite's gold at the March 5th pay-per-view. Moxley was in action during last week's episode of AEW Dynamite, facing off against Hangman Adam Page for the third time since October. While Moxley picked up the victory, it was teased that neither Moxley or Page were happy about the result of the bout. Some have predicted that Page's prior relationship with the Elite would factor into the Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club feud, which does make sense because Hangman Page, in quite a few vignettes, has been teasing that he needs to have a conversation with the Elite. He's been teasing that he needs to talk to them. He's been teasing that maybe he needs to clear the air. Of course, he distances himself from the Elite. Gosh, when was that? At the beginning of 2020, I think it was. The end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Or maybe a bit later than that. It might have been the end of 2020. I forget when it was. It all bleeds into one. Nevertheless, Hangman Page is not part of the Elite anymore. But maybe this might be a part of Hangman Page reuniting with the Elite. That might be what's going to be happening in the future. And maybe that's going to tie into allowing the Elite to retain their AEW World Trios Championships over the Blackpool Combat Club at the Revolution pay-per-view. But certainly, that would be an exciting match to see and a really interesting one if they indeed do go in that direction. There was concern about the Bunny. We spoke about this in today's earlier AEW news video, talking about the Bunny's possible injury sustained last night on Dynamite. During the Dynamite match between the Bunny and Jamie Hayter, an abrupt end was called to the match after the Bunny landed oddly after an exploder. The match would end with Hayter hitting the Haterade to bring the match to a sudden end, with reports emerging of doctors checking on the Bunny at ringside. According to a new report from PW Insider, the Bunny appeared to hit her head on the apron outside, and there was backstage concern that she was hurt after the match. PW Insider haven't, at the time of this recording, been able to confirm whether or not that's actually the case. So again, we have to wait and see. As of the time of recording also, there's been no public statement has been made by AEW or the Bunny. Again, if we get any updates on if she was legitimately injured, if it was just a precaution, if she's fine, if she suffered a concussion, whatever it may be, of course we'll let you know in the next AEW news video. But here's hoping she's okay. Here's hoping it was just a precautionary measure, but as of right now, we still don't know. Paul White, what's going on with the former Giant, the former Big Show? Well, he hasn't been wrestling that much. That's because he's been undergoing quite a few surgeries for quite a few injuries, but he does hope to be back in the ring by later this year in about a month's time. It's been now nearly 2 years since Paul White shocked the wrestling world and joined AEW. And if you cast your mind back, at the time, that was such a big announcement. It felt like such a real surprising move for the former Big Show to make a WWE mainstay for 20 plus years. And now he was in AEW. It felt like a big deal. It felt like he was going to be heavily involved, and he really hasn't been as much as maybe one would think. Now, it was expected when he moved to AEW that he'd be working both as a wrestler and an announcer for AEW's YouTube show, AEW Dark Elevation. In those 2 years, however, White has done more announcing than he has wrestling, and now he is finally opening up as to the reasons why. In an interview with Metro UK, White went into detail about some of the health issues he has dealt with since joining AEW, including a knee injury that forced him to undergo knee replacement surgery earlier this year. Quote, there's been some setbacks personally, White said. I've had a couple of injury setbacks, had to get the knee replaced in August. That knee was bad for 12 years, so it could have gone any day. It's kind of like that tire on your car that you should change, but you keep driving anyway. But we're good now, and hopefully we'll be back in the ring in March. Everything's on schedule, so we're looking good. As White noted, knee replacement surgery isn't the only thing White had been recovering from. The future Hall of Famer also underwent his second hip replacement surgery in December of 2021, which kept him out of action for several months. In total, the injuries have limited White to only 4 matches in AEW, with his most recent high-profile one, and to be honest, his biggest, most high-profile one against QT Marshall, who he defeated at All Out in September 2021. That match lasted, a minute, if that. Now, White's last match in AEW was nearly a year ago, where he defeated Austin Green on the April 4 episode of AEW Dark Elevation, which took place in White's home state of South Carolina. I've said before, and this is nothing against Paul White, I just really don't have much of an interest in seeing him wrestle again. I mean, again, he's wrestled 4 times in 2 years because he had to have a second hip replacement and knee replacement. It was uncomfortable watching him walk with his knee because, again, it was like bent at this point and it felt like it could go at any second. So I'm really glad he's got that fixed. But at the same time, he's really good on commentary. He's got a great voice for it. He's got great experience. I really like him on commentary. Reminds me of Gorilla Monsoon, actually, on commentary. And I think he should just stick to that. As far as one big retirement blow-off match, if he's healthy enough to do that properly, then sure. But in terms of a regular thing, I just don't think AEW need it, to be honest with you. Now, speaking of people that could be signed to AEW in the future, after roughly a month of being a free agent, former MLW World Tag Team Champion EJ Nduka may be off the market. According to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, Nduka was offered a contract with AEW following his match against Konosuke Takeshita that aired on AEW Dark earlier this week. The match itself was taped several weeks back, and there is currently no word on whether or not Nduka has accepted the deal. Following his departure from MLW, Nduka has attracted attention from a wide range of promotions across the globe, reportedly including WWE. After spending several years performing for NXT as Ezra Judge, Nduka was released in 2021 and signed with MLW shortly thereafter. Nduka's contract with MLW expired at the beginning of the year, and the former football player became one of the hottest free agents in wrestling. Whether or not Nduka is still a free agent, though, remains to be seen. And again, lots of people have been offered AEW contracts recently after dark matches and dark tapings. Not everyone has accepted it, so if we get any confirmation as to whether or not he has accepted it, we'll let you know here in a future video. Double or Nothing, one of AEW's biggest shows of the year, and the build, despite not even reaching Revolution yet, has already, begun. AEW has reportedly already been working on promoting Double or Nothing 2023, months away from the upcoming pay-per-view. Per PW Insider, the promotion was filming promotional material for this year's Double or Nothing event earlier this week. The report didn't specify where or when the exact content was filmed, nor the nature of the promo material revealed. As of this recording, AEW has not actually yet confirmed the date or venue for the event, with Double or Nothing taking place during Memorial Day weekend every year since AEW's inception. It is expected that this year's pay-per-view will air on either May 27 or May 28, with Memorial Day being on Monday, May 29. And he was asked recently, AEW President Tony Khan, if Double or Nothing would be returning to Vegas. He said it would, so expect announcements about that to air fairly soon. Most likely, we'll probably get an announcement, an official date for Double or Nothing during the Revolution pay-per-view in just under a month's time. Thunder Rosa, while she recovers from her back injury, she was backstage last night at Dynamite. While holding the AEW Women's title, Thunder Rosa revealed that she was recovering from a back injury ahead of the September 2022 All Out pay-per-view. Toni Storm won the interim AEW Women's Championship at the event, and her reign was retroactively changed from interim to official in November when Thunder Rosa relinquished her gold. Per PW Insider, Thunder Rosa was backstage at the February 8th Dynamite taping. It is worth noting that the event aired from El Paso, Texas. Rosa is based out of Texas and treats San Antonio as her adoptive hometown. It's currently unclear when Rosa will make her wrestling return. The former champion revealed in December last year she was able to resume weight training amid her hiatus. Jamie Hayter, of course, is the current AEW Women's World Champion, defeating Toni Storm for the gold at Full Gear in November last year. Still no timeline on when we can expect Thunder Rosa to return, but she was backstage last night, and she did recently suggest she would be returning to the road, not to be wrestling or anything like that, but just to be backstage, possibly do some commentary duties in the future too. So expect her to pop up at some point, maybe on commentary, but not in the ring as of yet. Finally, there's been a lot of speculation on Jay White and Hikuleu's future, with both contracts reportedly coming to an end. And on February 11, Hikuleu faces Jay White in a loser leaves Japan match that was demanded by Jay White following his attack on Hikuleu at New Japan's New Year's Dash event. With WWE reportedly interested in the services of Hikuleu and Jay White, many eyes will be on the match at New Japan New Beginning to see who leaves and who stays. Speaking to the New Japan official website, Hikuleu himself said, quote, "I know that Jay is valuable anywhere. It's nice to know that I I am too, but at the end of the day, this is about winning. At the end of the day in Osaka, one of us is leaving Japan, and people will remember that for a long time to come. It's destiny. When you think of what Jay White has achieved in the last 5 years, it puts us entirely on different levels, and I can instantly make my value skyrocket if I'm the guy that made Jay White leave Japan. Hikuleo would also say that having only returned in the fall of 2022, he feels so much he can still do in Japan. Jay White, again, is attracting a lot of interest, as is Hikuleo, who actually does leave New Japan Pro Wrestling. Who leaves Japan? We'll have to wait and see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But there you go, guys. It's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the WN365 roster by clicking that join button. You get exclusive members-only access to badges, emojis, exclusive members-only content, which I'm hard at work at behind the scenes. That is going to include historic match watch-alongs, interviews, debate shows, just extra content that you have been asking for. So if you want access to all of that, plus priority chat in the comments, especially for live streams as well in the future, which are coming soon too. Lots of big plans for the channel here in 2023. Click that join button and you get access to all of those perks. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon. Peace.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.